was your impressions of your immediate boss, Honorable Ajala, the outgoing chairman? In a few words, tell us some of the things that the public do not know about him, that you, being his lieutenant, know personally about him, and perhaps a few of his qualities that you hold so dearly. And then also share with us how prepared are you for the job? Because in another few months, we would be going for the elections. The expectations are high. The hope of every resident of Olowo is that Honorable Jakonde emerges the new chairman. That is humongous responsibility. Just like you have also identified yourself, how prepared are you for this responsibility?
Well, I think it's two questions.
Two questions, yes.
Yeah. So let me start with the first one. I think based on what I've told you earlier, on the noble achievement of this present administration, we should give you an insight of who the master planner is, right? Because I'm speaking on behalf of a government that is being, that's headed by Honorable Razak Olushola. And to go to my own personal observation, I would say that Honorable Razak Olushola is my boss, executive chairman of Olowo LCDA, as someone that has an extreme passion, for good governance. That's one. Two, because you want them awards. Two, is someone that really cares about the people. Because most of our decisions, at that top level, are taken with clearly prioritizing, the impact of what decisions we have to do within the people within this LCDA. And we can, the reason behind that cannot be far-fetched. He was born and bred here, lived all his life here. So he's someone that understands the terrain, both political terrain, social, and of course, his experience in governance, right? He has everything all clearly called out. He has everything planned out, and you can actually have passion, right? But if you don't have the strength, right, and especially the wisdom, it might be impossible, for you to deliver your goals. So it's someone that God, in His infinite mercy, has blessed him with a lot of energy, a lot of strength, and to crown it all, a lot of wisdom. And that is why he's popularly called Mr. Obo.
Mr. Wisdom.
Obo is wisdom. And I can't go to start to mention all these awards, but to mention just one.
Lagos State Man of the Year.
Lagos State
Man of the Year.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So to go to your second question, I would say how prepared. Having worked closely, right, under the tutelage of such a responsible figure, it only reminds me, you understand,
Big shoe.
Enormous.
it only reminds me of where I'm coming from, right? Like I said, I've learned practically everything from my dad, right? practically. You understand? Both theoretically and practically. Because I got the theoretical class in the house, and then the practical from its public, doings where it's demonstrated in the public space. So have those combinations. So here again, it should interest you that this is the second political school that I'm attending, right? One from my dad, and, right? I find myself learning both all the dynamics and the interests of governance as well as politics. So I would say it's combining both together. My humble beginning, my experience the past 7 years, I believe that I have everything that it takes. I have the capacity, I have the experience, and that the special grace of God. Because everything we must always put God first. By the special grace of God, I believe we'll be able to sustain all everything that we have achieved in this present administration and continue it, move them on to the next administration, consolidate on the gains, and we start to bring new innovations into the system. I honestly believe that the only solution in this country is for us to develop our systems. And you see, we cannot get to our destination if we keep changing the path, if we keep changing the road network, right? We must be consistent. We must have a government, right, where there's consistency in progress. Because progress can be measured in various ways, where it's relative. A progress that doesn't take us forward, right? For me, it is not progress, right? But you need to move in that same direction, in the same strength, build on it, grow on it, then we can go far. When we look at Nigeria today, the only state that's got consistency, right, within Nigeria, can say Lagos, for instance, right? Because there's been a continuity of progress, all in the same direction. That is where you can have a real line that was started from Ashwaju, continued by Fashola, going all the way, and then somebody is commissioning, and nobody is saying, that route is bad. Let me go and start for Kaduna, and all of that. So we must start to work on our system. We must start to have a strong passion and belief, that there must be we must start to make conscious efforts, right? When we have a continuity in progress for all our governments.
Finally, let's wrap up this way. The local council, the LCDA, is possibly one of the most, cosmopolitan. You've got all the various tribes in another few months down the line. What are you looking at, as your own focus when you come in as the executive administrator of this LCDA in the next coming months?
Or rather, what would you be doing differently from what is currently existing?
Well, I didn't find any question in that, in what you are saying, apart from what you are saying, because I believe there's strength in diversity, and I believe that when we come to local content here, every local content that, in my opinion, in Nigeria is a replica of what you have at the next stage and at the next level. We have all tribes, all religion, everything represented in every local space. The same we have in states, the same we have You know, the only difference is in the numbers.
The numbers,
You know,
absolutely.
and you agree with me from what we have said from from the beginning, the start of this interview. You agree that there's not been a mention of anything that is tribal, anything that has to do with race or one kind of culture or religion. You know, we have a very clear understanding, you know, of the diversity that exists, you know, naturally within the space, you know, and we'll be able to accommodate everybody, you know, both religion. And what of we just don't identify only the Christian or the Islam religion. We also identify the traditional religion, which are the Ishashi, you know. So every aspect of diversity is represented in this government. And I told you, we're going to have a commission of Olowo cares. And when you look at the first categories that handles, you know, so we're not only looking at the form, we have a form that it doesn't display your tribe. It doesn't display, you know, your culture, your religion, right? But what we have identified is people that actually qualify in those categories of the aged people, widow, whether it's widower or a widow, right? And we've gone ahead to also identify the disabled, you know, so that the physically challenged are also part of our program. You understand? And creating a health insurance, you know, we have not discriminated who gets the insurance, you know, for people that qualify and people that live, you know. Perhaps the only thing we discriminate, right, is to use resources, you know, that we are holding in care for the Olowo, and we take it to Ikeja, you know, to go and give. You know, and I've said that we can also discriminate against city people because they're Bagada. And that's, you don't fall into our neighbor. So we need to do where we are very conscious of our diversity, and we believe in that strength. You know, and we have used that in our sports, right? You know, where we have sporting events. You know, we just finished the yearly sporting game, which is an annual event. You know, we had the season 1, season 2, season 3. You know, which in my report and my address during the season 3, you know, having a clear information about the fact that the timing of the next season, if the administration was to continue, will fall around November or December. Okay. And I've also declared that if I'm elected, right, there will be a season 4, you know, that there will be a continuation of programs. So what we have started from season 1, 2, 3, you know, so those are the strengths. You know, just last year, the chairman sponsored some of our very good, brilliant footballers, you know, to the Gocha Cup that holds annually in Sweden. Wow. You know, I think there are about 5 of those players. Yes. You know, and they were selected through a rigorous screening process. You know, which we sent them out, you know, for exposure. You know, where some of them can be trained. So, and there was no, we didn't have to decide or choose, you know, the kind of culture,
where they come from,
or religion. You know, so I've also mentioned the process that we have done, trying to get the best of all our students applying for GC. Right? We don't discriminate. We don't go on merit. You know, and that is just to also to make sure that we identify those students, and also to put the others, you know, on the foot, so that they can take things that are beneficial to them very, very seriously. You know, because Nigerians generally believe that anything that has to do with the government, right, does not need to be maintained. Right? And that explains where we have a lot of government and public facilities being damaged. You know, you can imagine people going on the Third Mainland Bridge that have just been removing the cameras, removing those iron bars, you know, just for their own personal gain. So, as people, we must start, you know, to engage ourselves, you know, because government is only occupies a small percentage, you know, of who we are. A larger percentage are the people. So the people must start, you know, to engage themselves to see the good in governance, because the larger percentage will only react to the bad. They only see the bad, right, and not the good. There's no government hasn't got its own good bad, you know, and you must start to engage government positively, you know, so that the destination that we are going should be able to get there. When we go out to put our finger on the ballot, right, we have a clear understanding that we are given a mandate for a specific length of time. You can't go and vote and elect somebody for 4 years, and in 3 months you are on the street telling that the person should go. You should know that you have to wait for another 4 years.
Yeah.
But within that 4 years, you start to look at what was the reason. Why did you decide to vote Mr. B? And if in any case you voted against the person, because sometimes we have misplaced priorities, you know, people have misplaced agenda, you know, because if you have a single vote, or let's assume that you have the vote of the whole of city people, right, because you want to save your job, and then you say you are going X, right, so but that doesn't even give you the majority. It still doesn't give you the majority. So you see, we must understand that in a democratic setting, right, it's just like any race, there will be somebody, only one person is going to win. And we must demonstrate the art of sportsmanship by accepting the result. You see, well, you cannot participate in the process and then you shout that the process is bad because it did not favor you. If it has favored you, then the process is good. So we must start to leave all of those habits. If you know the process is not good, do not even participate. But if you participate in a process, you have validated that process. If the outcome does not favor you, you must accept it. Because if you have won, then it can not only be good if you win.
That is wrong.
Right? It must be good before you start. You know, you can't see a food and you know a well-cooked food. If it doesn't smell good, you don't eat it.
Yes.
Because you know the consequences.
Yes.
But if it smells good, you eat it. So, for you to participate in the process, you must have a clear understanding of how this is going to run, where it will lead to, and then and that's why there must be vigorous campaign and engagement. If you are sure you are going to be the winner, then you sit at home and then wait for the results. People have to make their choices one way or the other. So we must start as people to start to engage positively, have positive agenda, see the good, live within 4 years. The best country that we all emulate in democracy, United States of America, they're having their own cup of tea. Are they going to say Trump cannot, even for someone that was even convicted as a felon? But they have to wait, they have to deal with it for 4 years. You know, they're not going to cry, they're not going to break down that country. So we should emulate all of this and understand that every process it's not going to be 100% perfect. But we must try to fit in, live in, and get the best. America is going to try and get the best of Trump for 4 years, whether anybody likes it or not. But the system, you know, is there. I mean, they have a better system, but there's nothing stopping it from us to start to build our system and try to get to the destination that we should be at.